Hello. I just recorded this video and my mic was muted, so now I have to record it again. Funny. So initially I wanted to do a pretty in-depth video about this, going through like all the installation steps and setting things up and what I learned. And basically I could tell you this, what I learned is I made a mistake and it took me a lot longer to do the installation of the Pi-hole than I fully expected. All because I didn't do a little sudo. I don't know how people say it. I say it sudo because I read it in a book and that's how it looked like it sounded to me. Anyway, so I'm not going to be able to go as in depth as I wanted. I ran out of time. I started a new class today. I want to get through this class. I have a bunch of stuff I need to do that's got on my plate, and I just ran out of time. So I'm going to go through the things that I learned, some of the stuff that I found useful and go from there. So initially, it started with me wanting to monitor my kids' browsing activity, and it's pretty easy. They're young enough to where they don't really know how to delete browser history and whatnot. But I use this as an opportunity to kind of learn a little bit more and do some more hands-on stuff and get a project out of it. So what am I doing? What do I want to do? I want to take advantage of DNS queries. So I thought this was a good place to start, taking advantage of DNS queries. And what is a DNS query? DNS servers, how does it work? So you put in the address, the website address that you know, foobar.com, that gets sent out to a DNS server from your computer. The DNS server gives you the IP address of the web server. So then you're able to request that website from the web server using the IP address. And then you get sent that website back from the web server to your computer, and that's what you get to see. So what we're taking advantage of here is making that DNS server something that is on our network that we capture all those requests and monitor, log, and we can review those things. So one of the easier ways initially, also aside from, putting restrictions on their iPhones and everything, was if you use Chrome browser, this is just a little tip if you didn't already know, but you go to Chrome settings, security, and you can go into this advanced section where it says use secure DNS. If it's not on, turn it on and change it from OS default to something like clean browsing, family filter. So that DNS server has a filter already in it that they've built, and it blocks a lot of the common adult content websites and things that would be generally inappropriate for children. It's a pretty good one. I used it and checked it, and it's pretty good. If they know how to get into the privacy settings and do this, then they're going to easily circumvent it. There's other ways, but that's just one quick way to do it. So alternatively, what I did was I bought this Raspberry Pi. I've had it for a while now, but what I've been doing with it was something different. And now that I have it, you can go on there as well and buy one from Amazon. They're pretty cheap, a little over 60 bucks. And you can hook up the Ethernet cable to it, and it runs off a USB-C power supply, just like a standard phone plug or any USB-C from the USB cable from your computer will run it. You can get one of these devices and you can install what's called Pi-hole. You would put an operating system on there. There's software on their website for the Raspberry Pi. It makes it pretty easy. And initially I had a video for it, but like I said, I mean, you don't want to watch me installing something anyway. It's pretty boring. There's pretty good videos out there already on it. So let's talk about once you get Pi-hole installed and some of the things that it can do. So it has an ad blocker, and mainly that's kind of what a lot of people like to use it for is ad blocking. I have it disabled right now because uh, it was blocking thousands and thousands of requests, and I don't necessarily care about ad blocking. I just wanted to use it for its logging capabilities, but also just to kind of mess around with setting it up and whatnot, having some experience, hands-on experience. One of the cool things though, you can create groups. So say you want to create like a group for your children's devices, you can do that. Let's see. I thought I had some on here already. Okay, there they are. Like there's kids devices. So you would create the group, add it, go to clients, select clients from the list, and you'd have to know the IP addresses of your children's devices. You could check that through your router, or if you have any sort of software like we do from our ISP, Internet Service Provider, you can go through and easily check their devices. Some of the devices, if you mess with them and you go to the network settings, it'll show you its IP address as well. So you would pick their IP address and then you can add it to the group, select which group you want it, add it, and they'd be added to that group. So then you can also go to the domains. See, this one I did from the earlier example, but I messed up. So say there's a website in particular that you want to block, like a naughty website, naughty.com, and you would click add domain as a wildcard. So that means everything that is under that website as well would be blocked because all the subdomains, if you didn't do that, they could circumvent it possibly by going to, naughty.com page 5 or something like that. You would assign it to kids devices and then you could do denied. So this is deny list, add to denied domains. You could also alternatively do add allowed domains if you want to be pretty strict about it. So aside from that, you can go back to the dashboard. You can look at things here. So initially when I had blocking on, you could see there's this one red bar. That's when I had blocking on versus now when I don't have blocking on. Look at all the requests that were blocked initially. And it was something I thought that was odd. It was odd behavior when you have a device sending out thousands of queries. In class, they talked about beaconing, where basically malware is sending out thousands of requests to a domain that is functioning as a command and control method, so it can send instructions back to that malware through that domain. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. Why is this device sending thousands and thousands of requests that are getting blocked? And I found out it was a setting in the iPhone through iCloud called Private Relay, where Apple tries to hide your IP and your DNS requests to keep you anonymous. The tool the default blocking list on here included that, so it wasn't something that I had set up. It was already set up through here, and it was generating all these blocks. So it wasn't malware. It was something I had to investigate and figure out. Oh, okay, it's something that Apple does. So after setting this up, like I said, I was more interested in the logs. What can I do with these logs? Can I get these logs and then feed them to Security Onion and then use that to kind of analyze some things in Security Onion? Because I've never messed with it. I want to learn how to use it, get some hands-on experience. What I learned about the Raspberry Pi and the Pi-hole and their logs, they have a 24-hour log that rotates, and that just it's constantly inputting and deleting queries over a 24-hour period, but it also has a database that stores queries for 365 days. So I wanted to see if I could convert that database into a data format that was easily ingested by Security Onion. So in order to do that, you'd have to access the Pi-hole through command line interface here. So let me pull that up. Uh, And if you didn't know the IP address, you could do a scan. If you have Nmap, you're familiar with Nmap, you can scan for port 22 because I had SSH enabled and I know that's going to be on port 22, so I can scan my network for any open ports on any open 22 ports on my subnet. So you got to know your subnet as well, and I know mine. So I'm basically scanning every address in this subnet that has and looking for an open 22 port. So in this case, it found it, and as you can see, It'll tell me the IP address of my Pi, and that, oops, that port is open. So you can SSH by using the username associated with that you use to create or set up that Pi and the IP address. In my case, I don't feel like typing the IP address, so I know the name of that device, and you would enter your password, and then you're in. So once you're in, you'd have to find where that log or where that database is and create a script that converts that database into a log file that Security Onion can use. I've already done this, so here it is, sudo, I'm going to open it up so you can look at the script. If you want, you can pause here. I didn't come up with it from scratch. I wish I did, but no, I didn't. I got some help from some AI to help me create this script in this file. And then we're using this format. We're formatting all the data. And you would save this script, and you'd have to, oops, I exited on accident. So once you'd have the script saved and created, then you'd have to change it into an executable, and you would execute the script. And when you execute the script, it would create that file. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip ahead a little bit here and say now that we have that file, we need to send it to the Security Onion VM. So if you don't already know your IP address for your Security Onion box, you can look it up using IPA or uh, oh, I already have a command on here. So you would look up your IP address. Once you find your IP address, which I know mine, you would use your username and the IP address and the location you want to send that file to. So initially, I try to send it straight into the Zeek log file, the current log file. I didn't have the permissions to do that from this device, so I ended up sending it to home, EZSO, Pi-Hole. And then when you send it, you'll be prompted for the password. I didn't get it right, but the file is sent successfully. So then you would go over here to the Security Onion VM. So then you go over to your Security Onion box, and you'd have to move that file from the place that you transferred it to into the Zeek folder, Zeek log folder. So here's a mistake I made, or at least it didn't work for me. I don't know, maybe I was doing something wrong. If you guys know something that maybe I was doing wrong that you can correct me on, please let me know. But I tried to put it into the current log files, and it wasn't working. It wasn't ingesting that data. It wasn't showing up on the dashboard. So what I ended up doing was I ended up putting it into a previously dated folder. So in this case, 31st. And when I did that, it worked. It showed up on the dashboard, and I was able to have access to that data. So you would do that, transfer it over into the log folder, the Zeek logs folder, and you'd go to Security Onion, and this is pretty cool. I don't have a lot of experience with it. I'm still learning it. There's a lot to learn here. But I mean, I look through it and there's just so much data, and I'm starting to go through the documentation, watching videos, learning different things about it. This is something I like to mess with, the pie chart. You can change it from pie chart to just the numbers. If you want to move things around on this dashboard, like here, I have the source IP, and say I want to move the source IP up to the front. I can just go ahead and grab that because it's using a onion query language here. So I would just copy that, move it to the front, submit that, and then there it is, source IPs at this is the first thing I see. I can look at it again in pie chart or different other formats, And I know I can create cases with it through actions. Here it is. I can add a case to it, or I can include, do only things by that IP address. And one of the other things I'd kind of opened, I was just starting to play a little bit with this Kibana, and I don't know very much about it yet. I'm still exploring it. Like I said, I'm kind of out of time. I got to get ready to pick up my daughter from the school bus and cook dinner and do all those things. Like I said, I have a class I need to start today and get in the books, but I really wanted to get a video out, really wanted to show you guys something I was working on. And really, if you have any constructive criticism, feedback, please, I'm all ears. You can't hurt my feelings. I'm, I'm a student. I'm learning. I'm trying to get better every day. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care.